Welcome to our season finale of Access Forged. I'm Brandon. I'm the creator of Access, and I also have along with me here Cam and Pete who are helping me run the game. Tonight, we have a lot going on. First, we'll have our Final Four elimination. Then we'll find out who our and then when we find out who our final three is, then we'll go into our final two-pass ceremony in order to see who will face the jury. The jury will be able to question the final two, hear their final pitches as to why they should win and represent the season. After that, we will invite all the cast who is willing to jump in to join us in a reunion to discuss everything that went down the season. Not to mention, we will find out who wins the season and the $60 prize pot along with it. But before we get into tonight's episode, let me catch you up quickly on what has happened this season. The game started out with 3 teams of 5 players, and the first few rounds quickly became all about one player, and that is Nick. Nick lied to Zach, telling him he was going to be eliminated the first round. He publicly accused Cake of throwing a challenge and publicly sabotaged his own team's chances of winning a challenge in order to take out Cake. However, all of this ended up in resulting in his own demise as everyone on his team turned against him. With 3 players gone, the teams were then shuffled to be now 3 teams of 4 players. And once again, the red team curse continued as Tristan and Wesley were the next to go. This brought us to the individual phase where Nick once again won his, not once again, but Nick won his way back into the game, but left his trust in the wrong hands of Angelica, who was fine with letting him go out the revolving door. The data leak power was also played, which resulted in everyone's votes being publicly revealed and outing some of the relationships in the game. So with Nick finally out of the game, the knowledge of the data leak and the chaos of Jester leaving the game for personal reasons, the different sides of the game started to finally firm up with Team Push, which was Rich, Connor, Steve, Angelica, and Rachel, versus Team Roy, Mac, Cake, Seb, and Zach, which at the final 9 resulted in Rich deciding to save Rachel over Connor, the king of punishments. Which left us with the final 8. Everyone started to panic about getting a key, even to the point where Seb tried to make a bold move by giving Cake his key in hopes that others might be more willing to save him if he was without. Unfortunately for Seb, though, he ended up not even making it to the key ceremony, with Cake ending up having to be the deciding factor to send home Seb over Mac that round. With the key ceremony next, Angelica was the only one without a key and was eliminated, leaving us with our final 6. Despite Steve having the power to shred at the final 6, Cake was given the final advantage of the season by the Forge Masters, and she used this power to attempt to scare Steve and Rachel. Either through this tactic or another reason, Steve and Rachel ended up cutting seemingly one of their own in Rich while they had the power. This left Steve and Rachel vulnerable at the final 5, and with Rachel winning the challenge, Steve was easily taken out, which leaves us now with our final 4. Zach, the loyal soldier, Cake the clown maker, Mac the social threat, and Rachel the resilient rogue. During our last challenge, Rachel won the challenge and earned the power to assign one person access to the final 3, which she decided to keep for herself, which also meant she also had the shred power. With that, why don't I bring in our final 4, and we'll start by asking them some questions. Come on in, final 4. You can go ahead and turn your cameras on. All right. Welcome, you guys. You have made it to the bitter end of the game and have accomplished what 11 others could not. You've made it to the final 4 and are just a few eliminations away from the final 2. Rachel, with winning the challenge at the final 4 here, you had a big decision. You had to decide who to assign the final 3 access to along with the shred power, and you ultimately decided to keep it. This means you automatically advance to the final 3 and cannot receive access nor give out an access card, but you decide on whose access card to shred. How did you go about making that decision, and were you entertaining going another way?
I kind of thought about it. I was trying to think of like why I would go another way and like risk my safety. And I couldn't think of a scenario where it would be beneficial to me or change the outcome really in the way that it is right now. So that was kind of trying to think of all the different alternatives of what could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and ultimately, you felt the best route was to just keep it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Cake. How important are alliances at this point in the game? Are there still alliances, or is it every person for themselves?
Thank you for that question, Brandon. Alliances in this game, or at any point, are beneficial, but there comes a point where between now and what's about to happen next, where it's every person for themselves. So I'm curious to see if said alliances do stay intact, and we shall see.
Okay. Zach, how do you think the jury is going to decide who wins? Do you think they're going to be bitter or vote for the best game?
Uh, can you hear me? Or
Yes,
okay.
you sound great.
Um, that depends. I mean, everyone's kind of different. For me, at least, if I, nothing's guaranteed in this game, but there's lying for the sake of game, and there's lying just for the sake of lying. And if someone has been lying to me, I mean, I can say this because they can't kick me off, but I will be a bitter juror because there's a certain point where if we're working together and everything, then I can say that for myself. The rest of the jury, I'm not for sure. So,
Okay. Mac, how did you go about deciding what you were doing, what you were going to do this round? Are you just looking to be safe or aiming to get a final two pass?
I think we've gotten to the point in the game where the people that have the final two passes know that they have the final two passes, and ultimately there's not much left for us to do aside from aside from hope. Someone's going to go this round, and if they have a final two pass, then all we are to do is just hope that it gets passed to one or the other of us.
Mhm. Okay. Well, we have a lot to do tonight, so let's get into our first elimination here. Rachel, you already have access to the final three, so congrats. You are already through. Zach, Cake, and
Thanks.
Austin, we're about to see which one of you is about to be eliminated. Again, I'm going to reveal everyone's status one at a time of getting to the final three. If my background turns green, that means you have access to the final three. If my background turns red, then you currently do not have access. If you're the only one without access, you're eliminated. If there are two of you without access, then one of you has an extra access card and will have to decide who comes to the final three. With that, let me pull up the votes. All right. Zach, let's start with you. Zach, your status is you currently do not have access to the final three. Mac, your status is you do have access to the final three, and we'll join Rachel there. Cake, your status is you do not have access to the final three, which means, Mac, you must now choose between Zach or Cake. Who would you like to take with you to the final three with Rachel?
So, God, this is such a. I knew that I would be making this decision since yesterday. I knew how the votes would fall, and I knew that I was going to have to make this decision. And this is the toughest decision that I'm going to have to make in this game. And I I'm so sorry to the person that I'm ending their game right now. I love you both. I've played this game with both of you since the very beginning. This is simply a strategic move on my part that hopefully I will be able to explain much better in my jury speech. Um, I I will be taking Cake to the final three.
which means, Zach, you have been eliminated. Do you have any final words for the final three here?
I will not be giving my vote to someone, so yeah.
Okay. With that, stay right here. I'm going to come back. Come back, Zach. We're going to do a quick interview with you. We're going to kick the others out to the waiting room. All right. Zach, it's just you with us here now. What do you think happened? Why do you think you got eliminated?
Uh, Mac was lying to me, like I said in my confessional.
Mhm.
So, him and Cake had the final two passes,
Hmm.
or him and Rachel, one of the two, obviously. But
So you do not have a final two pass.
no.
Okay. I'm just asking for the sake of the audience. They don't know.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. No, I don't.
so you do not have a final two pass. You have nothing to give out now. Um, without revealing anything, it sounds like you're pretty decided on who you're voting for to win.
Oh yeah,
Okay. All right.
because I mean, I don't know if I'll go any further. I mean, this is, yeah. My only thing is, this whole game, I've been honest. I mean, I have not lied much. I say much, like, the only person I lied to was Steve. That was the only person I lied to. Everyone else, I've been pretty blatantly honest about it, or I just haven't said anything.
Mhm.
So that's been my factor going into all of this. And I've kind of known that there have been things hidden from me along the way. I was waiting for this person to reveal them, but they decided not to. So, yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Well, while you are out of this game, you are still in the jury and will ultimately help decide who wins the season of Access. I want to thank you again for playing. You can go ahead and turn off your camera as we bring the others back in. Oh, no, don't do that. Okay. All right. Final three. Rachel, Mac, and Cake. Go ahead and turn your camera on, Cake. There you are. Congratulations. However, we cannot stay final three for long. It is now time to find out who will be our final two and get to plead their case to the jury as to why they should win this season of Access. Again, I'm going to one at a time reveal everyone's status of getting into the final two. If my background turns green, then that means you have a final two pass and access to the final two. If my background turns red, then you currently don't have access. Again, if you're the only one without access, you're eliminated. If two of you don't have access, then the person that does has both final two passes and will decide who to take with them to the final two. With that, let's start with Cake. Cake, your status is
Okay, I see it.
you do not have a final two pass at this point in time. Mac, your status is you do have a final two pass at this time. Rachel, your status is that you do not have a final two pass, which means Mac, you have both final two passes at the moment. Once again, I need you to decide who you are taking with you to the final two, and the other person will be sent to the jury.
I have had a final two promised with this person since the very start of the game. So I'm so sorry, Rachel, but I will be bringing Cake with me to the final two.
Okay. Rachel, any final words for the final two here?
Nah, just flaky.
Okay. Once again, I'm going to kick out the final two to the waiting room, and we'll have a quick little interview with you here, Rachel. Rachel, I'm so sorry you got eliminated. What do you think happened that led you to this point?
Obviously I didn't have a final two pass.
Yes.
So clearly I wasn't getting much farther. I kind of knew I was gonna end up here. I didn't realize Mac was the one. I had a thought maybe, but I don't know. He played it off well, but I mean, kudos to him for like hiding it, but I don't know. They're gonna have to like really show like what they did in the game because I'm not entirely sure what they did.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Without revealing anything, are you decided on who you're voting for to win tonight, or are you open to what happens?
I'm open because I think I just would like to see like did they actually do anything like you know winner worthy
Right,
or was it luck?
right. Okay. Well, with that, you can go ahead and turn off your camera and microphone as we admit everyone back in here. All right. Mac and Kate, congratulations, final two. You have come as far as you can go in this game, and now your game rests in the hands of those that you had a hand in taking out, whether directly or indirectly. First, we're going to allow those on the jury to ask a question to either one or both of you. After everyone in the jury has had a chance to ask a question, then you will have a chance to give your final speech. Then the jury will vote. And jury, you are voting for who you want to win. You're giving them access to the win. So, first up, we'll have jury questions. Seb was unable to make it tonight, and so he sent his jury speech to everyone, which was basically just saying congrats to the final two, best of luck to both of you, and own your game. That's the quick summary of that. Um, Cam, do you know who is up first for the jury?
Yes, so Wesley will be first if Wesley is here. Wesley is not here.
Okay.
Then we will move to Angelica.
Okay, Angelica, go ahead and unmute and turn on your camera, and you can ask one or both of them a question.
Okay, hi. Congrats to both of you. It's freaking awesome. Okay, so my question is for Mac first. Question, if I were to actually get to, let's say, almost being final two with you, we were pretty close. Would you have actually brought me? Or were you pretty more loyal to Cake?
I was more loyal to Cake. I had promised Cake since the very beginning,
Yeah.
a final two, and there were some relationships that I had in the game that were just, there were some people that I talked to a lot more than others, and Cake was one of the people that I just talked to every single day, and we connected in the beginning and we bonded and we made a pact to make it to the final two together, and there's very little I think that would have strayed me away from that.
Okay. Cake. I felt like, honestly, I kind of regret letting you win that Connect 4 because I feel like I could have won. Do you feel like you were really going to be there for me when it came down to it?
First of all, I want to say thank you for that question. My answer to that is I had obviously I had Mac, I had Seb. Then in the end game I had Zach and Steve and then Rachel. And I was trying to position myself to where I would have people who would have my back. And you were someone who we hopped on call during that Connect Four challenge. I was like, I'm going to go here. My name has been said almost every single round. And you gave me that solid, and I wanted to move forward in the game. Obviously, it wouldn't have been final two because I had prior commitments. However, I was going to take you as far as I possibly could, just because you helped me out when in my mind, was like one of the most scariest moments. Was right before the key ceremony, all that stuff. You helped me out, and I said, "Listen, I have you. I showed it before, and I was going to continue showing that for as long as I could." And I hope that answers your question, and I thank you.
Thanks. Can I ask one more to both of them?
If it's quick, yeah.
Oh, I don't know if it'll be okay. I just wanted to know if like what their biggest move was, but I'm sure.
Yeah, go for it.
Mac, you can go.
Oh, my biggest move? I don't know. I think once we got down to the final 6, convincing everyone that I didn't have the both final 2 passes. I think that was the biggest for me, and making sure that I kept track of where all of the keys were and all of the final 2 passes for the whole game, and letting other people knew that I was tracking that so that they would believe me when I said that I didn't have the final 2 passes. And that let me just kind of make my way one by one to the end.
Cool. Yeah, thanks.
To answer your question, I have a few big moves. However, I think one of my biggest moves was somehow convincing Seb to give me his key. My original goal for that round was for Rich to go, based off of how we were counting the cards. We were trying to count the cards to distribute. We were all going to stack on me. And as it showed from the round before, that round, and the round after, I was trying to stack the cards that way I could choose who to go home. And unfortunately, after Seb gave me his key, I had to cut him loose because it was between Rachel, who I knew was going to be saved by Steve, but then between my 2 allies who I was really close with. And I think saving Mac proved that I had Mac's back round after round, and what cemented me into getting here right now. And I thank you.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
All
Thanks.
right.
Steve, you are up next.
Said me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. Those are the words I'll start with. I maybe have 2 questions, but we'll see where it takes anyway. But for both of you to answer first, if anything, what changed in your game from your start game to your end game? Was there any change or any thought in your game to bring you pretty much to where you are now?
I'll let you go first, Cake.
Okay. Actually, when I started this game, I legit thought I was gonna be one of the early ones picked off. Round 2 was the first moment where I got heat on me and knew I had a target on my back. So I had to essentially try and figure out and maneuver my way to claw my way out of elimination. The next round we saw, I was trying to put forth effort, and in Live Night there was a self-sabotage moment. So it was like, okay, I have to pivot here because if I'm trying to show I'm a team player, obviously I can't be a team player. So at some points, I would say I did switch it up. I switched back and forth between being sometimes sneaky, but also sometimes being very loyal and holding on to things. And I feel once we got towards the end game is really where I started switching it up round after round. Because after the key ceremony, I knew Mac had the final 2 passes. I said, did Seb give you the pass? Max said, I have both. We're making it to the end. We just got to navigate these few rounds. So I was sitting on that information and also trying to figure out how to get the target off of me because I went around saying I had a pass to someone and that spread like wildfire to get the target off of Mac. So in a way, I was trying to be a chameleon by changing my strategy and all the different things with what was going on in the game. And I will give Mac the floor. And I thank you.
Um, I think from the start of the game, I had planned to play the same all the way through. Um, I knew coming into it that I wanted to be very social, especially seeing that a lot of the cast was pretty inactive, and I knew that making a name for myself early in the game was going to benefit me in the long run. Um, I don't think there were any points in the game where I needed to pivot or chose to pivot. I knew that I wanted to work with Cake until the end. Um, and the only real thing that changed about halfway through that kind of left me scrambling a little bit was Jester leaving the game. Um, but after he exited, I think I picked up very well on the groundwork that we had laid out together pretty well, making sure that we always knew where everyone was voting and where the shred was going and things like that, and the alliances that we had made. I don't think there was ever a point in the game where I had changed my mind on how I wanted to play the game, or if anything pivoted.
Um, I feel like a lot of people talk to Jester in their game, and that was a horrible part for him. But aside to that, um, how much? What's the proper word I'm looking for? I almost want to use betrayal, but like, how much decoy and lies did you have to do in this game? Because I feel like Mac, you were probably in a lot of alliances, so you picked up a lot of detail on people because I was in a few alliances and you were there too. And then I kept feeling like he's reading everybody. So I feel like that was probably a part of your plan. Cake, I still think you were like I saw you as a good player and you kept saying around the bottom, nobody wants you. Obviously, you and Mac had something that proves that. But I'm like, was that just a big part of your game, or are you really actually feeling on the bottom for most of your game?
I'll say this. Did I have Mac? Yes. Did I have Seb at one point? Yes. Did I have Zach in the end game? Yes. But if we look at the entire run, one person can't help you get through the entire game. When I kept saying I was on the bottom, it was because my name kept being said every round because I had decided to create the bigger target and be a not a scapegoat per se to protect Mac, but to get the heat of the suspicion of Mac potentially having a final two pass off his back and onto me. By that being, I'm a target round after round after round. A target's going to be on the bottom of the food chain. That's how I look at it. I was at the bottom of the food chain, but what happened was I was getting all of my information from Mac via either Jester, Zach, you, or even Rachel sometimes. It was just, I was on the bottom. I only had one person truly stick by me through that. And if we look at out of a cast of 15, one person in a cast of 15 isn't a lot. However, that's how I see it. But no, it wasn't strategy. It was literally me feeling round after round with me being a target. Even before I did a decoy of I had a pass, just me being a target round after round after round. My name is the only one being said. Clearly, I'm at the bottom. I hope that answers your question, and I thank you.
That's cool.
I think for me, being in the alliances was strategy for me. I knew that, coming into the start of this game, with people being as inactive as they were in the beginning, I needed to make sure that I solidified myself within several different groups. And so I picked out the people that I saw as being more active on each team, and I aligned myself with them day one. Um, and same with you, you and Angelica. I we had our 3-person alliance that we made pretty early on in the game. And that was something that I relied on to get information from your original team, with you guys. And I had worked with you guys on a couple of votes there. But same thing with Jester and Zach from mine. Same thing with Cake from hers. Um, yeah, I really tried to capitalize off of all these alliances that I was in to get me to the end and to make sure that I had all the information that I needed.
Sense. I had you guys pinned as both having the final passes before I left. So I guess one was right. I'm undecided, so I want to hear you guys talk towards your end, and we'll see if we can go there.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Let's have Wesley come on up next.
Hey, I literally just got here, and my brain's a blur of this entire goddamn game at this point. And like, I was gone for so much of it. Can you both just give me a kind of a summary of like, why should I vote for you to win, basically? What did you like kind of do this game?
Mac, the floor is yours.
I was a social threat since the
Mhm.
start of this game. I used my social abilities to weave my way into every single relationship in this game so that I knew exactly where every key was, every envelope, every final 2-pass, every advantage, and I always knew where everything was. And I think that is why I'm sitting here at the end. I made sure that I had the right connections with the right people, the right relationships, to where I knew anything that was going to happen every single round.
That is a tough act to follow. However, I would say this. Out of a cast of 15, I was only safe 3 times where I won a challenge and got second place. All those other times, my name was the main topic. For the pre-merge and swap and a little bit into the middle of the merge, that was all on other people saying I was this amazing strategist, this and the other, because I kept surviving. The way I think of it is I was a cockroach this season. The amount of times my name was said and the amount of times I was targeted, I just would not die. I was very resilient this game. I was able to strategically position myself with certain alliances to be able to save myself and said members, making flashy moves, and also encompassing what the theme of the season was. The theme of the season was Forge. If we think about it, I forged my way to the end. What happened? My name was said round 2 as me throwing. I somehow stayed thanks to Rich. What happened during the first live night? My name, there was literally time after time after time of self-sabotage, my name being out there, and somehow I made it here on my strategic, my wit, all that stuff. So I hope that's enough for me to win. But either way, regardless, I feel like I'm a winner because I'm here in this moment with the amount of times my name was said. But a vote would be very nice. And I thank you.
Understood. I do have a lot to think about now. You both had very strong cases there. You both sold very different but very very worthy games from what you have said. Basically, it's kind of the reliable, consistent, but maybe somewhat boring versus the exciting but risky, which is kind of the interesting question to put in. And I have a lot to think about. I will be like, I am still thinking here, and I will be just letting the jury go through.
All right. Thank you, Wesley. Zach, you are up next.
Cake. I just want to give you the floor and talk about um, the struggles that you've had in this game and how you've overcome them a little bit more. Nothing really specific. I just want to get your overall point. I know there's been multiple things that we've talked about and everything like that. And yeah.
Thank you, Zach. I wish I could say I had a pleasant time for the most part. Everyone who was on jury and made it to so much the late game, everything I said was 100% genuine in our talks. But to sit here and say I had a fun time and a pleasant time is an understatement. Round 2, after the first round, no one talked. I figured to be on my team based off of, oh, we were just safe, whatever. Round 2 happens. Nobody wanted to step up as a team captain. I step up because no one else is talking. They said, are you creative with your word choices and do you go for basic things? I said, no, I go for outside the box. I did a word for the Spy Masters game. Was it the best choice? No, but it was outside of the box, and one of the team members were able to set it, but it didn't go through, and I was accused of self-sabotaging. One thing about me, I don't self-sabotage at all unless if it's in the merge portion where I could rely on myself, where I could throw. And I got very frustrated early on because I felt I was ostracized. I was burned at the stake. There was a few times, a few of y'all on jury know, where my mental state was not all the way there, but I don't want that to determine my vote, your votes for me. It was an uphill battle, but every single round I kept getting knocked down a peg. We saw round 2, I got knocked down a peg. We saw at live night, I got knocked down by a peg for literal hypocrisy reasons. And I know I've been known to be a hothead, but I've never felt more disrespected by someone and not seen as a player in that moment. So I said, you know what? Let me do what I can do. One thing about me, I don't give up. As much as I say, I'm gonna walk, I'm gonna do this, I'm resilient. A lot of my struggles in the uphill battle was taxing, yes, but it's worth it because I'm here right now. In a way, it was like the little engine that could. And no matter how many times someone tells you can't do something and you get knocked down, as a wise person once said, it's not about how you fall or how many times you get knocked down. It's about how you get the fuck up and you do what you did. I was given lemons every single round and I made lemonade out of it. And I feel like that's why I'm here. Because when you look at it, I was resilient. No matter how many times someone talked to me bad or how many times someone was trying to target me and be vocal, trying to play in my face that we were working together and go against me in the moment where we all heard it. I tried my hardest to maintain a level head despite mentally going through it. And I think that's a struggle. I think one of my biggest key things is in games like this, once we log off, we are still human. The thing I would have preferred this game is if a lot in the early on stages, if people would have just talked to me, even just saying, hi, how are you doing? How's your day? Because I'm the type of person where I try and be there for everyone. Even if I'm not all the way there, I try and be there for someone. And not having that and just being ostracized for like the first 2 rounds really took a toll. And then having an alliance with Jester and hearing Jester going around trying to be messy to set me up, actively rooting against me when someone who made me incredibly uncomfortable came back, doing that, then trying to spin it on me, trying to make it look like I was crazy, threw me through the loop. And that's all I will say on it because I feel like I'm taking up a lot of time. However, just remember mental health matters. I know this is rich coming from me, but I did it a few times this season. If you are mentally going through it, just take a break.
Mhm.
Listen, the game will still be there, but like, don't do what I did and try and take it all in because at the end of the day, you can only take so much. And I thank you. Thank you
Yes.
for giving me the opportunity.
Do you have a question for Mac or you're good, Zach?
Pick a number 1 through 1,000,000.
Oh my God.
Or
Okay. Thank you, Zach. Last but not least, we have Rachel. For those of you counting at home, Rachel's our 6th jury member. And then if you weren't made aware of this, our Forge Masters are actually going to be our 7th jury member. Collectively, they are voting on who they think should win, and their votes will count as 1 jury vote. So Rachel, I turn the floor to you.
Okay, first, shout out John Cena. Hey. um, okay, so I guess I'm gonna start myself off with a statement. cake. I took a bite and I got a nick because I'm feeling it right now. When we had talked about an all-girl final two, you had an opportunity to say that Mac had the passes. So with that, I could have then shredded a correct person and you chose not to. So to me, like to be pushing so hard on a like final two girl with me, I don't like that. And the fact that you like just completely went with Mac. I get you went like day one, whatever, but then to go like that way, it's not a good look for me. And I'm not appreciative. I'm gonna keep talking. My other thought is, how are you guys thinking that what you got you here right now wasn't luck, but was actually like game movements? Because I'm not entirely sure from the things that you said were game moves. Like, yeah, you had social, but like to get passes, that's I think is luck, in my opinion. So if you can explain in either one. Also, Austin, who are you? Because we never met.
I'm
I
Mac.
know a Mac, not an Austin. Do explain.
I guess I'll
Sorry.
first since I was addressed. Rachel, I was really pushing that idea because you pushed it to me. However, let's not forget who actually had the passes. I did not.
Right.
I held up my end of the bargain. I promise you. I said I don't have the passes.
Yeah,
Here's the
but
thing.
you
I
knew where
could.
they were. You knew where they were, and you could have at that time had it where we were in the power position to then flip the switch on Mac. So like that I think is an excuse, and I think it's pretty poor.
Could I have done that? Yes. But at the end of the
But
day,
you didn't.
as you told me in our one-on-one before I hopped on call with Mac, you said I needed to go to Mac, have him give me his card and swap with him so that way there was a two. If I would have came to you and said Mac has those two things, my fate let literally
No,
rested.
because he would have given it to you.
But my thing
Come on,
is,
girl. No.
okay, how the Final Four format works, it doesn't matter who shreds, as long as people swap, that's how it works. That's why I was trying to push for you to give me immunity so I could potentially take a shot
Nah.
back.
I'm sorry. I'm not agreeing with you on that. And you can, talk to your face is blue, but right now it's pink. So it's not going to work for me.
And I thank you for that question.
I thank you.
I'll go into the other part of your question with the actual moves that we made that weren't just luck. And I want to fight you on the passes and the envelopes being luck. Round one, I strategically made it so that the split was 3-1-1. 3 on Dylan, 1 on me, 1 on Zach. So that Dylan would go home. I knew that he would give me the pass over Zach. And if he ended up not doing that, I knew that the pass went to Zach. But he gave it to me anyways. And then everyone else knew that it was a 3-1-1 split. So I went around then and convinced everyone that I didn't have it and that it had to have been Zach. That was the start of my game, convincing people that I did not have that first pass that I was going to utilize up until the key ceremony, which kind of threw me for a loop because the very first envelope of the game was a final two pass. So I still needed a key. And that was where the move came in later in the game to get Seb out. Seb gave his key to Cake at the key ceremony right before the round. And we had convinced Seb to throw his vote on Angelica so that it forced the only person being eligible for an envelope to be me. And then that secured me and Cake's safety for that round. After that, there were no more envelopes, and I knew where both final two passes were, and that was when I went to Cake. And because Seb had told me and Cake beforehand, I have a final two pass, I still need a key, or I have a key. And we were talking about that. Seb went home, he gave his final two pass to me. And then that was when Cake was like, he didn't give it to me, he must have given it to you. And I confessed to her at that point that he did give the pass to me. And she said, well, we need the other pass. And I said, well, actually, I already have the other pass. So now we just have to make it to the end. And then that was where I utilized what I had been doing for the rest of the game, which was convincing people that I knew where all of the passes were and the envelopes, and I had been tracking all of that so that I could convince people that I knew that Rich had a final two pass. And so then that put the blame on Rich. Rich went home, which then put the blame on Steve. Steve went home, and then now we're at final four, where me and Cake ultimately had the say in what happened.
Thank you,
And that's all.
Austin Mitchell.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you to all of our jurors. At this point, our final two, we're going to give you one last chance to give your jury speeches. Cake, we'll start with you.
Of course, you're gonna start with me because I wanted to go last. I had some things right now, but I don't know if I should read off of that because I don't know if that's too corny. So I'm gonna speak from my heart. I'm gonna highlight a few things. As we all know, I was resilient. My name was the talk of the town. I went to Rich specifically before a round or two before the key ceremony, saying when Jester was in the game, I said I had a key, I had a pass, and I had a power that Jester had, which was a shred power. Because ultimately, I knew Seb had a final two pass, and I knew at one point we were going to have to cut Seb. So I wanted the suspicion to be off me in the event that Seb would have given me or Mac the pass. That's one thing. Two, I was incredibly unlucky with the Forge Masters until Final Six, which I kind of lied about my power. I had the power to rig, and only one person here knows what that power actually did. I strategically made it to where I was able to personally keep my own card to myself. I was able to get others to stack their cards on me because the ultimate plan was for Rich to go. Rich was an incredibly big comp beast. He was targeting me. And I will say this, every time I said a name on who should go home, they ended up going home. Connor. Unfortunately, Seb in that moment after giving me a key. Rich. I said Steve needed to go. I knew at some point I knew how to get here. It was just me trying to navigate and forging relationships. Was I messy and going back on deals? Yes. But at the same time, I can sit here and own my game and take responsibility and accountability. If we look at the overall theme, as I said earlier, the theme is forged. You had to forge new connections. You had to forge your way here, forge your moves, and forge your path to the end. And I feel like I did that best. For 3 rounds in a row, I held the power of who went home. Boom. I never won a competition. My name was said almost every single round except for 3. And I believe I should be the winner. If you vote for me, thank you so much. And even if you don't, it's all good. At the end of the day, it's a game. But I love to win. Yes, absolutely, as anyone. But at the end of the day, I feel I completed the assignment of forging my way. I've forged a new version of me. I've never seen myself play this strategically, this loyal, and I feel like I would be a great candidate and representation for this season. And Mac, I just want to say thank you for always being there for me. Prod, I want to say thank you for being an amazing prod team. Even when I was going through it to the jury, Thank you for being there. There's a reason why we all got on call and discussed who the jury is, because we all think that y'all deserve chances, because in one way or another, y'all were either robbed, done dirty, or you went home too early. And with that being said, vote for me if you think I played the best game. Team Cunty. And I will leave on a positive note. Just a daily reminder, trans people exist. We're not going anywhere. Protect the dolls. Free Palestine. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, for coming in 5 minutes before the cast was revealed. Thank you so much. And Mac, the floor is yours, my darling.
Thank you, Cake. I just want to start this by saying that the relationships that I made in this game were real, and I'm sorry to the people that I lied to. The lies were strategic to get me to the end. It means nothing about the relationships that I made in this game. I love you all. No hard feelings, at least for me, but I understand. Um, I have a jury speech written out, so I'm going to read it. It explains my game very well and highlights some things, so I'm just going to jump into that so we don't waste any more time. I'm going to take a few minutes to walk through my journey in this game from day one to now and explain why I believe to win this why I believe I deserve to win this season. From the very beginning, starting on the orange team, I knew I needed to play a strong social game in a format like this. I knew starting off strong is how you stay ahead, and that early groundwork paid off in the late game. Let me be clear, and I'll start with this. Every single round of this game, I knew exactly where every vote was going and who was being targeted up until the very end. Whether you told me directly or not, I found out through some kind of connection that I built in this game. Round one, I orchestrated Dylan's elimination specifically in a 3-1-1 vote split. I convinced Angelica to throw a vote on me and for another to be thrown on Zach. I knew that if Dylan went home, I'd get the envelope, and I did. I then strategically pinned the envelope on Zach because of the split and convinced my allies that he had it. This envelope had a final 2-pass. That move set the tone for my game. Not only did I get the first envelope, I also got the first advantage. We will get there soon. Jester's role in this game. My early bond with Jester was essential. I kept my cards close, but every piece of information that passed through Jester came directly to me. That alliance gave me eyes and ears across the entire game right up until his exit. Round 3, when Nick went home, I leaned on my early alliance with Steve and Angelica to keep Cake safe, while I wasn't even voting that round. Cake and I had a mutual trust from the start of the game, and that relationship that I built early on was a key reason that we're both sitting here right now. Then we get to the team swap, and this is Tristan's elimination. Swap was a turning point. The red team losing was best case scenario for me. Tristan had started to get it a lot closer with Jester, and I needed to stay Jester's number one. So I again worked with Steven on Angelica to making sure that Tristan went home over Wesley that round, protecting my direct pipeline of information. Then we merged. Connor winning immunity was not ideal, but we still sent Nick home unanimously. After that, I used my advantage, which exposed everybody's vote, outing Rich at that point for lying, which was strategic. I knew that Rich and Jester were getting close, and I had also saw a possible Rich-Steve duo forming. And by painting Rich as a threat, I kept my own threat level low while keeping my trust in others. After Jester left, even after he exited, I still had full visibility because of the groundwork that I had already laid. I knew who had every key at this point and where both final 2-passes were. This allowed me to control votes and take out threats when I needed to, and ultimately plan out my path to the final 2. Final 9. I knew at this point in the game I had to take out Connor and do everything I could to win immunity. Winning here would also take the threat off of me for a round, knowing that I wouldn't be eligible for a key. I needed a break from seeming like I was gunning for a key so I could continue to keep my threat level low. And then I won immunity. I sent Connor home. We sent Connor home. And it was just a very strategic, straightforward round where I could both lower my threat level and have no blood on my hands. Final 8 was the most tense round by far. My core alliance at this point was Seb and Cake. Seb had a key in a final 2-pass, as y'all know, but Cake and I both needed keys. And at the end of this round, Cake convinced Seb to give her his key. And this is when Seb voted for Angelica, ensuring that I was the only one eligible for the envelope, which contained the last key. Seb went home, unfortunately, but Cake and I stayed safe, and I now held both final two passes after Seb gave me his on his way out. Final six, I needed to pivot and I needed to do it quickly. So I brought in Zach into a three-person alliance with me and Cake to go against Rich, Steve, and Rachel. This is the one and only exception where I did not know what was going to happen in this game, and that is Rachel's hack that she used. That I think surprised a lot of people, but it ended up being a blessing because exactly what we wanted is what happened. Rich went home. That round, I also convinced everyone that Rich had a final two pass, which he didn't. I had been tracking the passes all game, and I used that reputation of knowing where everything was to shift the target to Rich, since everyone believed I was already tracking the passes. Steve was nervous that he would be next if Rich went there, but that was also part of my plan, and that was what I wanted. Final five, that is exactly what happened. Cake, Zach, and I voted out Steve, and I could kept the suspicion off of myself by pushing that Steve had inherited Rich's final two pass. Final four, Rachel won immunity. I now have the hardest decision of the game, which was blindsiding Zach. I had been loyal to him since the very start of the game, but I had promised Cake a final two. And so I convinced Zach and Rachel that Cake had the final two passes and kept everyone believing that I had none when I had both. So Cake never lied. She never had a pass. I had them both the whole time, and now we're sitting in the final two. To recap on why I deserve to win, I have been the most socially dominant player that this game has ever seen. My social strategy allowed me to secure alliances across the board, gain both final two passes, track every single key, envelope, and advantage in this game, and influence every single vote in my favor round after round. I won challenges when I needed to, and I threw when I needed to control the vote. And I convinced players that someone else was always the bigger threat. I didn't just survive till the end in this game, I controlled it. Cake and I both played great games, very different games, very strong games, but that is why I believe I should be the winner of Access Season 5. Thank you
All
all.
right.
Production, you guys have been great. Cake, good luck. And thank you to the jury.
All right, jury, at this time, I need you to send us in your confessional your jury vote if you haven't already. So if in your confessional on Discord, if you're able to get to that, go ahead and send it in. And we're going to take a few moments in order to tally those votes. All right, Steve and Rachel, just waiting for your votes. Okay. Steve, we know you love to draw out a decision, but we need one.
Good luck, man.
Good luck, Cake.
You know I love you. And I'm so happy. Regardless of what happens.
Same.
Ah,
All right. I believe we have all the votes.
no holds hands with Mac. I feel like we're in a pageant.
All right. Cam, are these votes confirmed from your perspective?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to reveal one at a time. We're going to ask the jury member to unmute and turn on their camera and reveal their jury vote. And if they want to give a short reason as to why they voted for this person, they may do that. We're going to go. I know Cam picked an order. I'm just gonna go in an order that I want. So, so we'll start with Seb, since he's not here. Seb has decided to give his jury vote to Cake. So that is 1 vote for Cake. Let's go to Angelica next.
Okay, I gave my vote to Mac. I would say you played me the best, but I hope our friendship is actually real.
That is.
Okay. So that's 1 vote Cake, 1 vote Mac. Rachel, let's have you come on next and share your jury vote. Rachel, if you're here, if you can unmute and put on your camera. Okay.
You disabled me. I
Oh,
can't
sorry.
do it.
Where did you go? How about now? There we go.
Okay, here I am. No, I actually did want to say to you both, like, you did a really great job, even though I know I was trying to be tough on you. But I think overall, like, Mac, you really threw me for a loop. And I think you explained it in a way that it made it really clear to me. So that's why I voted for you. Cake, I love you still. So no hard feelings, but good job, Mac or Austin, whoever you are.
Thank you, Rachel.
So we have 2 votes for Mac, 1 vote for Cake. Let's do Zach next.
I've already made my opinions known. So I've done it before. I'll do it again. Is my vote?
Thank
So Zach is voted for Cake to win. Thank you, Zach. Let's next go to Wesley.
Hey, I'll just have you know, I was actually going back and forth the entire finale. I ultimately was with 2 main factors of who I feel I've more socially with throughout the game and who I feel played the more reliable game, the more controlling game, and I ultimately had to go with Mac. Love you both.
Okay,
Thank you, Wes.
that's 3 votes for Mac, 2 votes for Cake. That's 5 votes. So our last juror vote is Steve. If Steve votes for Cake, then the Forge Masters will cast the tiebreaker vote. So Steve, please share with us your vote and why you voted for them.
Literally through all the speeches, all the questions you guys answered, I was like, oh, I'm gonna vote here, and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna vote there, and this is why I was probably the last person to submit the vote because I literally went back and forth, and these 2 guys in production know I'm the slowest guy ever on this stuff, so it's probably a stat in here, but I went back and forth and I really wasn't sure because I feel like there was a little more conversation in with one player than the other. But when I look at game stats, I'm like, oh, I don't know. But kind of just put it out there, I guess. Like say both played a really good game, and this is the kind of end that you want to see, like 2 kind of different games. I would have liked it more if it was 2 people that didn't play the game together the whole time. But with that on a very, very slight edge, like 49 to 51%, I did vote for Mac.
Which
But
means congratulations, Mac. You are the winner of Access Forged and the $60 prize that goes with it.
Oh,
Everyone at this point, you can turn on your cams, except for the Forge Masters. Don't reveal yourselves yet.
Reveal.
Congrats.
Thank you guys. Oh my gosh.
Um,
Cake, you played such a good game. I'm so happy that we got to sit at Final Two together. Truly. Couldn't have made it here without you.
It's your moment.
yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations to you both. It was a hard game, and Cake, you came in literally last minute and still somehow managed to get to the final two. So congrats to you both. You both played a great game. Mac, you happened to get the win here. And I can reveal at this point that the Forge Masters also voted for Mac. So the end vote was a vote of 5-2 for Mac to win. And while we're talking about the Forge Masters, they're raring to talk. They've been forced to be silent all season. So let's start the night by revealing the secret of the season. Who are the Forge Masters? Well, first up from season 4, he was the social accent of the season, making his most famous move is making the deal for a final two pass with Abby just to take her out right away. The eventual winner of the season, we have Forge Master English Crumpet, aka Sam, who is he here? I don't believe he was able to make it, which totally understandable. All right.
He's in the UK.
Yes.
Oh,
Um,
that's why he's a crumpet.
yes.
I'll explain it.
Yeah, it's all coming together now.
Yes. Also from season 4, he was the hidden ace of the season and is most famous for being pissed for getting a final two pass. Was eventually taken out in 4th place. We have Forge Master Wise Sage, aka Steven, who really wants to show off his captain's hat. Steven, you can finally turn on your camera.
I don't know how. Hold on.
He's also on a
no.
cruise ship and maybe just a little bit tipsy.
Nice.
I'm trying. Hold on a second. Oh no.
What time is it?
Don't fall off the ship.
I don't even know.
The
I'm so
struggle
drunk.
is real.
Dude, this sucks. What
There should be a little camera icon. Press the camera icon.
It says you're going to start your video later. Can you start it now?
I'm trying.
Maybe you need to go out and come back on.
Oh no.
right. All right, while he's figuring that out, from seasons 1 and 2, he was the driver of the end game in season 1, and in season 2, he proposed to the runner-up, his now wife and mother of his child, at the end of the season. We have Forge Master Fatherly Chaos, aka Bill. I don't think he's here either. He has a newborn, and so it's very understandable if he's not here. All right,
That
there's Wise
is a
Sage.
lovely hat.
There's Steven.
Hi.
Are
All right,
are you the proper rank to be wearing that on a ship?
What's going on, man? It's like 5 a.m. right now. I'm on a ghost ship. No one else is around me right now. But it's okay because I'm captaining this
Because they're
ship
sleeping.
right now. Right, I know, as they should be, right? What is going on? Congrats, Mac. Cake, you rocked it, and good job, y'all.
Thank you.
All right. From seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4, she cannot get enough of Access. She is most famous for getting eliminated in season 1 for calling Bill, aka Fatherly Chaos, for calling him Tim. And he took her out because of it. Also famous for making the deal with Sam for her final two pass in season 4 and helped to run the Godmother Alliance in season 2. We have Forge Master John Cena, aka Rachel's favorite, aka Abby.
Yay! Oh my god, I love it.
And
Why-
why
Doug.
There she is. Yes.
Why were all my big moves the bad ones that got me out? That's rude. I did good things too.
You did do good things. I mentioned the godmothers.
No, no.
All
Your
right.
mother worked out though.
From season 2, our last Forge Master here. From season 2, she helped run the Godmother Alliance and is most infamous for taking out Alex from this season without any blood on her hands in order to get his final 2 pass. She went on to be the eventual winner of the season. We have Forge Master Holy Moly, aka my wife and best friend, Maddie. Are you coming in here or are you going on over there?
I thought I was your best friend, Brandon.
Oh,
We're all
yes.
disappointed.
Oh no. Let me turn off the filter.
He also has
She
heart
does
flashes.
Mm.
The
Oh,
mole
it's
is
screwing you over now.
here.
It's focusing on the wrong person.
Yes, they can hear you.
So this was easier than turning on my camera.
Turn off like the autofocus weirdness. I forget what it's
It's
called.
a blur on there, Brandon.
All right, all right, all right.
I'll go
Kiss,
talk on.
There we go.
kiss,
I'll go
kiss,
turn on my
kiss.
camera.
Oh my God, get a room.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So I did not lie when I said our Forge Masters are legends of this game. But I've left the Forge Masters on mute long enough. I want to start off by letting them each get a chance to make their own commentary or ask their own questions. Forge Masters, do you have anything that you want to share or ask? Looks like Steven's ready to bite.
No, Abby is. She's raising
Abby
her
has her hand
hand.
up. Unmute Abby.
Hi. I, first of all, loved watching the season. Y'all did great. Mac, impressive game. Cake, impressive game. Cake, I have a question for you. Did you realize, like, all the times that you felt the most victimized and such that, like, Mac was lying to you and making those things happen? Or were you just, like, out of the blue? I need to know what your real feelings were this season. If you, like, fully felt like you were under attack or if you knew that half the time you weren't. Also, your guys' voice chats were very entertaining. I really enjoy you both a lot.
Wait, can
I-
you elaborate? I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm assuming because I've been victimized. Apparently, half of it was real. I don't know. I still stand on how I feel with this game. A lot of people, Mac included, production, Zach, and even Rachel and Steve, in some way knew how I felt about this game. There's no victimizing about it when I'm literally crying on call for how I feel I've been treated. So if that's being a victim, I guess that's being a victim.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I want to clarify. I don't mean that stuff that, like, when you genuinely felt sad. That's not what I meant. I meant, like, when you felt like you were on the, like, when you felt like a lot of people were voting against you. But that's, I'm sorry. I didn't want you to get mixed up and think I meant that. I meant, like, just strictly gameplay, not how you were treated.
Gameplay, I still
Mm.
felt like I was on the bottom.
Okay.
I still felt like I was a target, as it's been very my name was said every single round. So you can only imagine how one's mental state can only take round after round after round after round of being the target. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Abby. Always keeping it spicy. Steven, or Maddie, I guess you're unmuted. Go ahead.
I'll go. I guess for Cake and Mac, like was there a moment in the game that you feel like was your favorite moment in the gameplay that you look back on and you're like, that was a great moment and I'm glad that that happened.
Was it? I don't know. The round that Seb went home was like, that wasn't supposed to happen. That was such a last minute decision that, like, I, I still don't really know why Seb did that because it sent Seb home. He had a key. He was gonna get a pass, and at the last minute he changed and he gave his key to Cake. I got the last envelope, and he was left with nothing, and he went home. So I don't know. I that was a crazy round for me. I think it was a crazy round for Cake too. But Cake,
It was
I'd
a
agree.
crazy round to watch as a Forge Master too, just so you guys know.
I'm sure.
I'd say I'd agree with Mac that that was like a crazy moment. But like honestly, my favorite moment in the game, which honestly it's recent, but it was like last night. Mac and I were on the call, and I like
Mhm.
someone who can separate. Like if I say we could put the game on pause, we put the game on pause, and
We had a good heart to heart last night. We talked for like 2 or 3 hours, and
where and it's things like that. As I said in my speech, is things like that that make playing these games worthwhile. Someone who I could just let my hair down, be vulnerable. And Zach can attest to this. Zach is like one of the people on the cast. I would say Seb, but Seb's on BB Hogwarts. But Zach could attest. It takes a while for me to open up. Cam can attest. It takes a while for me to open up. And like, it's just the beauty of these games having someone, I guess, understand you. And that's why that's honestly my favorite moment. It doesn't matter if I sent three people home back to back. Doesn't matter if I made final two. Like the moments that I really look back and cherish on, the moments where I had Mac, Zach, and Seb truly being there for me as I'm like breaking down, showing the rawness of it all. That would be my favorite moments.
All right, Steven.
Hey everybody. Coming to you from center game. But anyhow, I applaud all of the final three, honestly. Rachel, most improved player, 100%. You took exactly what we wanted when we were punishing people. We were really just trying to kick some fire in their pants of the high potential people because we saw so much spark in you, but we didn't see it until the second half of the game. We were like, we got to kick this girl into full motion in order for her to get to the final two. And then Cake and Mac, you guys ran the entire game. My personal philosophy is access is all about relationships. That's what gets you through. 100% authentic relationships will make you to the final. And granted, I didn't make it to the final two, but in general, that's how you do it. And you guys had each other's back throughout the entire season, and that's what gets you to the end, as we are evident to see. Cake, I applaud you. You made some ridiculously amazing moves throughout the whole season, especially when your back was against the wall. But honestly, that's like the heart of a fighter, is when their back is against the wall, they don't crumble. They like, okay, fuck you, let's go. And that's what you did throughout. You used that as motivation. And honestly, I kind of like backing up what Forge Master John Cena was saying. I think it might have came off wrong. What we thought was at the first few rounds, you were at the bottom. And I think you realized that and you were like, shit, I need to like harness this momentum and figure out a way to spin it so that way I come out on top because I'm a survivor. And that's what you did. And so I applaud you 100%. Kick. I was like, we got to get this girl an advantage because she is killing it. So good job, 100%. Mac, you fucking killed this whole game. Like, if you, there's receipts, anyone who wants to see anything and everything, Mac is it was like a good cop, bad cop vibe. And I'm not even asking questions. I am sorry, but I don't need to because we saw everything and anything, to be honest. Mac killed it. Cake killed it too, but she was bad cop. Mac was good cop. And unfortunately, in Cake's situation, good cop almost always prevails in these situations because bad cop gets the blood on their hands. And I can speak to both because I've been in both situations. But at the same time, Mac, you've had the best handle on the entire season situation, emotional intelligence with every single player. You have gone, you've like pushed through when you needed to go forward and give it your all. But then you also, the hardest part is knowing when to scale back. And that's what you did, because that is, especially with like intense players, knowing when to like, whoa, I need to pull back the reins because I've got too much on my sleeves and they're going to knock me out. And the fact that everyone I'm rambling. I'm sorry. I'm drunk and I'm also on a ship, like a ghost ship right now. But at the same time, every single one of you guys clocked Mac, and none of you guys followed through with it. And it drove me wild. Not in a bad way, but I was just like, holy shit, why don't they talk to each other about this stuff? Because every single one of them was like, "Did Mac be lying to me? I don't think so. I think I'll trust him." And every single one of them said that. It was cool for him, but unfortunately led to most everyone's demise, with the exception of him and Cake's final 2-pack since the beginning. And that's because relationships. Access is the only I've testified this to since the beginning. It's the only game where you could win every single challenge and not even make it halfway because of the key ceremony. And it's all about what it comes down to is the relationships that you forge with other people. And that's honestly my takeaway with every single org I play. And that's why I love Access. It's because it's like, it's a game. Obviously, you want to do as best as you can, but you want to make out with authenticity, with people that you can actually forge lifelong friendships, relationships. We've already seen many marriages happen. So let keep it up. Y'all are great. Awesome final 3. I didn't know where this was gonna go. Cake or Mac, it could have went either way. So you guys had awesome points to both of your games.
This is why he wrote most of those fun letters. He's so eloquent. He's much better than us. And mine just got laughed at.
I also dressed up as like the strangers-esque female creepy. I'm glad I could traumatize all of you.
Oh my gosh, that was literally the scariest thing I've ever seen. I think I'm also very impressed of a final 2 that really stuck together the whole time, because me and Maddie know what that's like, and a good alliance that really genuinely works together. I love that.
That was me and Sam too last season. Relationships get you far in Access, and that's what you need to have. And if you don't have that, you won't do make it to the end, unfortunately.
Yeah, and real quick, Abby, last time we saw you and Rich, you were only engaged. It seems like you have an update.
I'm married, bitch. No, I'm kidding. Maddie was in my wedding. It's great. Brandon gave us access to marriage. He married us. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
I want to make it very clear I was not on Rich's side most of this time.
Rich is dangerously close
There's
to so
receipts
many
of that
punishments.
too.
All right. Speaking of the advantages and punishments, let's dive into some of the secrets of the season. Oh,
Also,
sorry.
we should make note that literally Rich did not know that Abby was Forge Master John Cena.
I asked that literally in my confession. I'm like, did they play again? Because when I played the first time, these two were playing together, and I'm like, how? But they literally played in separate rooms sometimes. So I'm pressed again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rich did not know that Abby was Forge Master John Cena.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And Abby did a really good job of keeping information from him. Probably wasn't all that hard for her, actually. She enjoyed it.
Which literally could not see.
All right, so let's get into the advantages and punishments of the season. So the first advantage, with only 1 round into the game, it was clear that Mac and Jester were the most social of the bunch. And while it was back and forth of who was getting the other hand, by the end of the first round, it seemed like Mac had gotten the upper hand over Jester. With this, Mac got the data leak, which we saw used after the first round of the individual phase. The first punishment, Connor was clearly the least active on the other side of things, and because of this was easily punished, and he received the public vote disadvantage, which caused a little bit of tension with Cake. You two had a little conversation about that afterwards, and were forced to still work together because you were on the same team then. The second advantage, again, Mac and Jester were still clearly in the middle of the game. They had alliances with each other and with others together and separately, also side alliances going on. There is Cam's Demons, the best alliance name, Jester, Mac, Rich, Tristan, which was mainly used to save Cake in round 3. Cake, Mac, and Jester, Roy, Destiny's Child, etc. It wasn't until over halfway through the game that we had our first alliance chat that was made without Jester or Mac, which was incredible. However, it was seen by the Forge Masters that Jester had taken the lead somewhat back from Mac at the moment. And so Jester was also seen as an agent of chaos. So they gave Jester the most powerful and chaotic advantage in the game called the Rewire. And while Jester ended up leaving the game with this advantage, it was not used. And so we'll leave that advantage to be a mystery for now, to be used for future seasons. The second punishment, Connor, this was publicly revealed. Connor was easily seen again as the most inactive and thus was punished with the challenge disadvantage, which may have been somewhat of a blessing as Connor was able to power through the individual challenge and win the whole thing. However, the best part of this disadvantage was the leak, that he leaked it to Jester, who leaked it to Mac, who leaked it to Cake, who was pissed that this might send Cake's team into an elimination ceremony. Cake, do you want to speak to that for a moment?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I was happy it was merged. Let's say that.
Yeah. I enjoyed your rants about that, I will say. The third advantage. Many have speculated and claimed that Jester received the third advantage as well. However, I can now say that is a lie that Jester completely made up. As soon as the power was announced that it was given out, Jester just decided out of the blue to just lie to a bunch of people and say he got this ridiculous, overpowered advantage. And while Jester and Mac were again in consideration for this advantage, Steve, Cake, and even Rich were also towards the top of the list here. In the end, though, Steve was seen as running one side of the game and doing this while staying out of the firing line pretty well, all while at the Coldplay concert. No, not that Coldplay concert. So Steve was given the third advantage, which was the hidden access card or hack, which was kind of ironic given that last season Steve had gotten a very similar advantage when he returned to the game. This hack was eventually given to Rachel at the final 6 and used at the last minute since it was expiring then. Which leads us to the third punishment, with Connor gone from the game. And while he was in talks for the punishment, it seemed clear that he had upped his game and was not going to be selected for this. But nonetheless, he was already eliminated. At this point, Rachel and Zach were seen as the main players not running the show and with the weakest resume and the most in need of a little bit of fire under their bunions in order to get their game into the next gear. Rachel had also asked for some attention from the Forge Masters, and they were happy to comply with the worst punishment in the game. Rachel was given more at risk, which meant anyone that tried to give her an access card that round would have had it reassigned at random to somebody other than Rachel. And she would also be ineligible for an envelope. And all of this just so happened to take place right before the key ceremony. And Rachel had no clue how to get a key and no hope in sight. Rachel, what was that like getting that disadvantage at that point in time?
I was freaking out. Freaking out, man. Yeah. But
Did you think your game was over at that point?
I wasn't really sure what was gonna happen. I was fortunate though that somebody that's not here gave me their key. But that was again like last minute type deal and was like, oh crap.
Yes. We'll come back to that in a moment. The last advantage in the previous round, Cake had gotten Seb to hand over a key and subsequently then sent him home. While Rachel and Rich were also in discussion for this advantage, Cake ended up being viewed as having made the biggest move of the round and was rewarded. Cake got the rig power, which allowed her to rig her vote, and give her access card to herself. Of course, that wouldn't mean anything if her access card was shredded, but still a very powerful advantage. However, she got a lot more mileage out of this advantage than just that. Do you want to talk about that now, Cake?
I mean, I talked about it in questions in my speech. I fucking lied about that power to everyone except for Matt because I had a target, the person who was viewed the strongest in my eyes, the person who was most likely a jury threat, and the person who was targeting me. And as I said, you can't target me, so like I had to get my lick back. So, did I tell some white lies? Maybe. Did I say I could rig other people's votes? Maybe. But at the end of the day, the move was still had, and it ate, and it gave good TV.
Mm-hmm. Yes, which leads us to the last punishment. Zach was going in the wrong direction with where the final two passes were and wanting to take those out without them. Was also seen as riding Mac and Cake's coattails a little bit. So the
Ow.
Forge Masters punished him to help him see the light. He was given the shamed punishment, which was really just to be silly and make him wear a silly hat. Zach, I don't know where the silly hat ended up. I think it ended up on Steven's head. Although Steven's head is not just silly, it's a good hat. However, it did get you to think about it, and you were really considering if they were trying to send you a message. What happened with that?
Uh, Honestly, I just didn't want to read into it too much because other games that I played, uh, I was like, I've been, I've looked into messages way too much. And so I pressed my foot off the gas and I was just like, uh, maybe I don't want to read into this too much. And I just backed off of it. And to be honest, it was sort of inadvertently Rachel that sort of, not that I talked to her about it, but like the way she was acting sort of made me think, well, maybe she kind of made me see something else because of how she was acting the last round. So I was just like, whatever, it's fine.
Okay.
But yes, that was, I should have looked into it more.
Okay. Let me also quickly next run over the keys and final two passes, all the envelopes that were given out. So Mac already revealed that Dylan gave out the final two pass to Mac the first round. Next, Alex was eliminated and he gave Nick a key. After that, Nick was eliminated and gave Rich a key in an envelope. Nick also gave his key to Connor on the way out. Mac can probably tell you all this. He has this all mapped out.
I have a spreadsheet that I updated pretty frequently for production that kept track of every key and envelope. And was it correct all the way through?
Well, you tell me. We'll see.
Okay.
Afterwards, we had the team swap, and Tristan was eliminated, who gave Wesley the other final two pass, who immediately told Seb, which did Seb tell you about that then pretty quickly, Mac?
Uh, as soon as he got it, he told me about it
Yeah.
because
As
he
soon as
still
Seb
needed
got
it
it.
because he still needed a key, I think, at that point. And so he was like, "Damn, I have a final two pass, but where's my key?"
Okay. So Wesley was eliminated next. He gave his final two passes to Seb. Wesley on the way out gave Steve an envelope with the key in it as well. Nick then was eliminated after that again and gave the key to Zach after he was booted. Jester left the game with nothing and gave out no envelope. And to speak to the Jester elimination, there was actually an envelope that was supposed to have two keys in it, and it had not been given out yet. And so we took one of the extra keys out of that envelope in order to adjust the game there. Connor was eliminated and gave Seb a key over Angelica and Rachel, and then gave the key that he had to Rich, which meant Rich now had two keys. Then Seb, before he was eliminated, gave his key to Cake. And when he was eliminated, the only eligible person for an envelope was Mac. So Seb at one point had everything he needed with a key and final two pass, but gave it all up in order to pull a big move, and it just didn't work out. Kim, do you remember more about why Seb did that?
That basically said he wanted to make a bold move
Yeah.
and risk it. I think he also felt that they were more likely to save him at the key ceremony over Cake. So
Right.
if Cake already had a key, it would help Seb's game. But yeah, I mean, it helps Mac out a lot because Mac got a second final two pass and a key out of Seb going home. So
Yeah. All right. With this, I want to get into what almost happened. I have some questions for each round of the game, unless anyone has a question, a burning question at this point, or comment.
I have one.
Okay.
Steve, why did you use that power on Rachel the round that Rich went home?
I was safe, so obviously I couldn't use it. And I went back and forth and I was like, I was actually
Mind
I
you,
was like,
Rachel, you were safe that round. Like, you weren't going home.
I know.
I literally didn't know where to toss it. And then I was more trying to figure out the whole shred thing. And then I forgot about the pass for a bit. And then production was like, you kind of have to send that out quickly. And I was like, I don't know. And I was literally thinking about sending it to Zach or Mac just to confuse you guys a little bit. And I was like, I don't know. But then I'm like, because honestly, I wanted to work with you guys, and then but I'm like, I feel like they're so tight together, and I don't think I can even peel them apart. But I was like, maybe a safety would throw it all out and change. But I don't know. I was kind of like lost for that, and I was like, I wanted to use that, but I kind of worked out that I was safe anyway. But I kind of just threw that. I wasn't even gonna use it at 1.2, but then I was like, you know what? I'll just throw it on Rach, and literally like right before she was like, "Was that did that come from me?" And I was like, "Yeah, I wasn't too sure," but I was like, if I thought about it more, maybe I could have put it somewhere, but I don't know if that was going to change a whole lot of the game because everyone kind of had a path decided there, and I'm like, I don't know if that can change it all, but all I knew is I was safe, and I felt at least good at that point.
So, what we were scared of happening was that Rachel and Rich were going to swap cards and you were going to shred one of us three. And that would have sent one of us three home and broken up us three. We were so worried about that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That irks me so much. I can't be more. I can't. I'm sorry, but that was the plan. I mean, we can go back to that round where I tried so hard to get us four, and then when it was 3-3, that round where Seb went home, I'm like, okay, guys, this is it. We have the three alliances there, and we just need to stick together because it's a numbers game. And Steve winning would have been like, all right, we can easily take. Oh wait, start my video. We can have an advantage here because at the end, if one of us goes out, they can just gain up on. Like, case in point, Steve and Rachel won all the challenges moving forward, but they couldn't exchange with anyone else. So it was like,
yeah,
I'm sorry, that to me. And by the way, I think Max, you played an amazing game. I know how so that, and even Cake, I got to say, to certain, getting the key from Seb was great. So I congratulate you both. But but I was trying to explain, like, our we're connected. Like, if one of us goes down, then we're not going to have a shot. So that's all I had to say.
And that's what we were worried about. And so the second that Steve played that, I was like, oh my God, the three of us did it. We can get out Rich here, and then we can get out Steve, and then we can get out Rachel and final three and final two. And at that point, I saw the exact path to the end with Cake. And if it weren't for that, I'll let you guys get into it from a production standpoint, but that was such a game-changing moment for us because we fully thought one of us three was going to be split up there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about this damn rig vote either. And I was like, someone's just so fishy. And I'm like, I don't know where to rely on and who to rely on. And that's why, like, when I had voice chats with everyone, I literally was straight up and I'm like, I'm here to play a game, whether I'm whoever I'm sitting with, it's a game. But I was so kind of confused. And I've learned a lot playing the second round of this game, I'll tell you that. But I still feel like I need to learn a few more different phases in this game.
Yeah, just jumping in there. Or go ahead, Steve.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so just jumping in. So this game, obviously, if you are understanding of where the sort of alliances lie, being in the power position in a 3-3 in access is huge because, as Mac was saying, you guarantee that one of the three on the other side will go home. If you don't do that, being in a 3-2, doesn't matter who wins, one of the two is going to go home. 100%. It's just guaranteed. Even if you
If
win
the
or if you
alliances
lose,
hold.
if
Yeah.
the alliances hold, one of the two is going to go home. So maintaining the 3 is the only way for a 3-3 split to survive. So that was, for us, it was wild to see. And props to both Cake and Mac, because I know Cake had a long conversation with Rachel and really convinced Rachel to work with her. Mac was doing the same thing with Steve. Cake did the same thing with Steve the next round. So your social games for both Cake and Mac were huge in sort of blurring those lines of where the alliances were. Because if you saw the alliances, as Mac was saying, they were dead in the water.
And to Rich's discredit, while this was going on, he was watching Superman. So, like, had Rich been active during the time of the elimination, I mean, maybe he doesn't get eliminated.
So Steve, you're saying that you ultimately were willing to go ahead with letting Rich go because the rig power, that lie really confused you as to
I
what was
don't
going
know. I
on.
think I got duped by their social game because I just felt like I was like, I don't know if I can fix it, and I don't know, like, I don't know, like, obviously well played social game there, but I was like, I don't like, I didn't know if I Rich could be saved and all because I felt like he was gonna be kind of attacked regardless anyway, and I think I probably should have probably tried to throw it out or even write something down. I don't write anything down. Um, but I was like, I don't. For another point of it, I didn't even want to make any of that the three of them safe. I'm like, why do I want to give them safety if I'm trying to not keep any of them in the game? So it's like, I don't know. And I felt like if I had any peel out of the three conversations I had with them, I felt a little more trustworthy with Zach's words. And I was like, I don't, but there was still that edge. I'm like, I don't know. These guys are playing. And then when we had that the three chat with the three of us, I still felt like something wasn't right. And they was literally like, we're gonna swap our votes and we're gonna pool it. And then there was no conversation. And I'm like, I don't know. So yeah, I
Sorry
was
about
duped a
that.
little bit, but I wasn't sure. And then I don't know. I was kind of I should just maybe I don't know. I left it, but like I don't know. That's a game mistake for me. Maybe now kind of hearing it and seeing it. Um, but like I said, maybe if I saw it a little more, I could have done something. But I was more concerned about like I was almost convinced that whether I did anything, Rich was gonna go, and I'm like, I don't know how to keep this like safe if I gave him safety, but then like Rachel's in jeopardy, and I'm like, I don't really know where to put it. And I felt like one of us had to be safe, but I didn't know. I was like, but my bad. Sorry,
Steve,
right?
you could have controlled that whole round. You got the shred and the hack. You could have given the hack to Zach and then forced Mac and Cake to exchange access with each other and shred the person that you wanted to stay in the game and get the other one out.
Yeah, I had that thought, but then this whole talk about this stupid rig thing and all the votes were going to be changed and stuff, and I was like, if this is true, I don't know what to do. Obviously, I should have just not listened to that. But
Now,
That's a move that I will give over to Cake. Because I think that like Cake lying about that advantage really saved us there.
yeah,
Because when
now I
I
have a
got off
question.
that call with you, Steve, when we talked for a while, I got off that call and I was fully convinced that like you weren't gonna send Rich home. I was fully convinced after that call. Like it was still a good call, but I was still fully convinced that like you weren't switching off like one of us three. And so whenever that advantage got played, I was like, oh my God, what is happening here?
somebody said
Zach
I
had
should be better, but I don't know. Maybe it's wrong.
Thank you, Cake, for saving us
Zach
that round.
had Steve given you the hack. Would you have played the hack?
That's what I'd be
Yeah.
curious if it passed along to someone else or if they would have played it.
I mean, I definitely would have. Uh, See, I was even hesitant about playing this game because I knew that Big Brother was coming up, and I, I was deep down in the feeds and everything, and I was just like, I was trying to play this game, and also even looking back to whenever I was having my conversations with Steve, I was like, this is in my deepest gut. I was like, there's something not right about this because not with you, Steve, but with Mac. And I was just like, and then I was taking my focus off of that and putting it on, well, the feeds are happening and they're entertaining. So, but yeah, I would have played it. I definitely would have. I don't know if I would have played it correctly, but yeah.
Zach, did you realize you almost went home that round? You almost went out
Yeah.
that round.
Yeah, no, I did. I was like, well, I kind of knew that like if anyone was gonna go, it was gonna be me, and also because um I felt like if anyone's gonna picked off, it would have been me, and I was just at that point, whenever uh Mac was coming to me about telling me, and then Cake was also saying about her power and stuff, and I was just like, okay, I don't even know what this power is or anything like that, and there's Mac was telling me it was doing one thing, and then Cake was saying it was doing something else. Like the stories weren't like matching up, but I was like, I don't care. If it saves me, it's fine, or something. And then at that point, I was just like, I was gonna let the game play out regardless. So
Uh, yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Before we go on, I also see Patty is with Abby. You guys don't know this, but a new showmance was blossomed in the Forge Masters chat between Forge Master Wise Sage and Patty. So yeah, that happened. Anyways, going back
You
to
blew their future alliance.
Yeah.
um going back to the very beginning of the game, Mac, right out of the gate, it seemed like you clocked Jester as a threat, and you even seemed to entertain the idea of taking him out right away. How seriously were you working with Jester versus trying to get him out?
I wanted him out so bad.
Why,
It
why is
was
that?
Jester. I'm not gonna talk bad about him. Jester just like he's so social, and it was just the constant talking that some at points would get to like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of him. Make it stop. I need to send him home. But then I was like, no, I need to keep my head in the game. Jester is doing this with everyone, and if I'm his number one, he's going to do the same thing with everyone, except I'm gonna get all the information. And that was why I kept him. My plan was to take Jester out a round or two after he left anyways. That was around when I wanted Jester to leave anyways, because I didn't want him to start to like catch on and like because he would have played a really good end game. I fully believe that. And so I needed to be really careful of that. And honestly, him going out when he did was really good for my game.
Yeah, well, and it even sounded that like the round Nick went out, there was talks of ideas of a plan for Jester going if it just so happened to work out that way. Is that true?
Wait, say that again.
It seems from my perspective that if the ball bounced the just so happened to bounce the right way and Jester was left on the table to be vulnerable and you guys had the ability to take him out, you guys were entertaining that idea. Is that true?
I was entertaining it, but it's not what I wanted at the time.
Okay.
I wouldn't have done that. Not yet. Because
No, you'd
I
rather Nick
was
go.
I would much rather Nick go. I'm a big advocate for, you know, get out the inactive players first. I don't care if I have the opportunity to get out a big social threat. Early in the game, I want to play the game with people who want to play the game. And
Right.
so I was like, no matter what, I'm still gonna keep Jester in the game.
hmm Yeah, and Jester was connected with a lot of people. He
I
was
know.
in alliances with so many people in the game, had relationships with them. And even by the time he left, he had started clocking you, Mac, and potentially even targeting you to some people. I know he talked to Rich a little bit about that, right?
I know.
Rich, did Jester talk to you about targeting Mac soon?
Yeah. So we originally had an alliance. It was supposed to be me, Mac, Jester, and Tristan. So we had that going on, and what ended up happening is when Connor had the advantage, Jester was kind of figuring out who can we target, and we knew. And then I got the information from Jester that Mac, Cake, Zach, and Seb were in alliance. That's when that whole thing. But he was kind of being so he gave me a lot of information, and then we kind of made it so where, let's say, Steve, Rachel, and Angelica would vote against each other, and then Connor would target one of them, and so he definitely had information, and I don't know if it was Mac in particular that was being targeted. It could have been just any one of the combos. I mean, but I also do think that he's the one that leaked that Seb was being targeted, and they were able to kind of manage that. But yeah. So I mean, I think he was playing a good game. Unfortunately, things happened the way they did, but I think he was also able to get information from people. And I thought that I can see why Mac would have considered him a threat.
Rich, while we're on you, back in the second round of the game when you were first up for elimination, it seemed like right out of the gate you were trying to team up with Cake, and then you slowly drifted over towards Tristan. Were you trying to work with both of them, or were you?
I kind of knew. I had a sense that Cake would have been a strong player just for her making friends with people. So I thought that would have been a connection to get. Um, I think and I like Tristan as well. So I think what ended up happening for me particularly is that I also saw her side where it was like, okay, burn all hell. Like when Nick when Nick eliminated her, we still had a chance to win as a team. But Cake was like, all right, take out Tristan, and all right, take out, because she went in, and I was like, okay, so this is going to be someone who might end up hurting, like might end up, burning the whole team down. So, and that's when I was like, I should be more worried.
That was wild as hell.
That was because, so I think that was where I kind of like, I would want to have people who are a little bit more, you know, reliable. I think she could have burned the whole house down in order to get her revenge. And, and I'm not to say that's the wrong thing to do, but that's how I felt it. That's how I saw that point. Like telling other people to take us out when I'm like, hey, we still have a chance to win this round.
Yeah, Cake, feel free to respond to that.
We
Oh, we
can't hear
hear
you.
Can we hear me now? Is it
Yes.
working? Okay, so what I was saying was we have that energy from me, but if we want to look at it, Nick just got eliminated. Nick then eliminated me. So why don't we have that say? My whole point was, why was I the person being targeted for that, for being vocal about it when Nick threw the first stone? And the only person who heard me out was Tristan and the rest of the cast. That's all.
Yeah, definitely was an interesting dynamic having Nick versus Cake, especially in the beginning of the season. Let's see here. Wesley, speaking of Tristan, uh, do you regret taking out Tristan in the following round when you guys had team shuffled, knowing now that you would go out next?
I'm thinking about it, like in terms of like, I think it's kind of one of those weird things where it's like, in hindsight, maybe I didn't fully know the dynamics. It was maybe my times on the round was different than everyone fucking else in this game because my CPU was all messed up this game. So it's hard to like get responses from anyone about anything a lot of the time. So it was very like, it was like, because of that, it was hard to get the information of like the dynamics of like, if like I was next to the totem pole, it was like hard for me to really know because I thought I would actually go with Steve in the prior round and all that.
Yeah.
But like, it's like one of those. maybe, but like it's one of those things where you get out, you like think of like every possible scenario, whatever.
Right. Yep. And it didn't
But
help that
reasonable
you
to
and
know like at the time is different than what you could have done like with a crystal ball.
yep. It didn't help that you just ended up on the red cursed team. So uh the red team historically in Access has not done well in the challenges, unfortunately.
I mean, isn't there? Now I'm thinking of like, was it Endure or whatever? Like the like kid the show was kids like teenagers where like they were in teams of two, and one team was like almost always the first boot. Like Curse of Gray, was it?
Zach knows it. It sounds like.
Yeah, it was like I forget what the show was called. Like there was definitely a show like that with like teenagers where that happened.
Mhm.
Like
I'm
the
not
gray team was always the first boot of the like teams.
Yeah, it's Endure.
Yeah, I was thinking it can't be Endure because that's an org. But no, it's also but no, that's different. No, it's still a show.
all right. Rich, going to another shocking moment of the game. Why did you save Rachel over Connor?
That was a hard one. I think Connor was my number one. I think Rachel, what she did, she endured to me. She gave me her vote, and without asking anything in return that round because she needed an up. So I thought that was a good way to get her as an ally. I think overall, I think Connor, in order, like seeing the way that things were going, it was very obvious at a certain point that Mac and Cake, and though that they will make it pretty far unless something happens, and therefore I need to solidify and get more allies. And I thought that Rachel would have done a better job at getting Angelica and Steve, because I know they were in the team together and they had a connection. Where Connor, my chances with Connor would have been very limited. We would basically have to win out in order for us to have a chance. So I think it was kind of mainly playing the long game and trying to see if Rachel then can get Angelica and Steve, and we can all form an alliance and kind of like go against that because because it was kind of clearly that one of those three would probably end up winning if things were at the same pace. So I think it was just kind of that.
Okay. Let's see here. Cake at the final eight, right before the key ceremony. You came into that live very much assuming you were going home here. At least that's what you were portraying. Did you believe that was actually to be the case, or did you know that you were staying? Yep. Sorry, I asked you right as you were eating.
That pizza was good. To answer your question, I went into final eight, which is the only time I played up me going when I wasn't going. As if we know BB, we know I'm a fan of BB. I went into this like Dan's fucking funeral because I knew Mac and Seb were stacking their votes on me. Zach was potentially stacking their vote on me. So in a way, I was gonna have the power and the ultimate say. And Seb just gave me a key, so it was just like, I know I'm making it to the next point. It's just, why not give a homage to reality TV royalty and have Cake's funeral? I mean, we had Clown Gate, we had I don't know whatever gate happened the second live night, whatever gate we want to call that, and then we had Funeral Gate.
Mhm.
So I mean, yes, I knew I wasn't going anywhere. That was the only time I knew I wasn't going anywhere.
Mhm. Did the thought cross your mind as you had to decide between Mac and Seb? Um, did the thought cross your mind, maybe I should keep Seb over Mac? He just gave me a key. Maybe I should keep him. Or was Seb always the plan to go there?
The plan was no shade. The plan was for either Rich to go or Rachel. And when we saw they were both safe, I legit said fuck. And like for me, that was like a very emotional vote out.
Mhm.
as y'all saw in my prod chat, and like as I was vocal afterwards, it was like one hand I have a final two with, the other one just gave me my spot to advance. So it was just like picking my poison, and honestly, the only time I wanted to get out Mac was if Rachel had transferred me immunity, I was gonna be like, I know who has the keys, and just be like, I know one person who has the key, and pull a last season. Because what a lot of y'all don't know, I did my homework this time, and when Mac told me he couldn't give me a pass before finale, I said fucking bullshit in my prod chat. I said, bitch, I saw how Steven gave Sam the pass, so there would be both. So I was like, you know what? I don't know if Mac is trying to snipe me or not. So I was like, originally, I wanted no shade. I would have like chopped Smack. Then after our call last night, it was just like I couldn't do that to my sweet little baby. Like that is my child, despite
I
being
was
older
I
than
was
me.
worried about that happening, honestly. And that was why I was so against giving you a final two pass before the ceremony.
No, if you here's the thing, the only
I
reason
was like,
why,
I have
if
to
you,
hold on to these, or else Cake will have one, and she won't have a reason to keep me around.
no, it my thing in my prod chat was if you would have given me a pass, oh babes, I would have been quiet and I would be like, yep, Zach has the pass. Yep. As I was telling you, because I what did I tell you last night? I said, what will be more better for your jury management? Giving me the pass and having me go back on my word after I've sworn on shit
It
versus
didn't matter. I knew so
T.
far in advance I wasn't getting Zach's vote after what I would have had to do to him. I I felt
Well,
so bad about it,
not Zach going in the dark.
so far in advance. Like it tore me up to have to do that, genuinely. But that was why I couldn't give up the pass at that point. I had to keep both.
I knew you were able to give it because I was in my prod shop. I was like, this bitch is lying straight through my teeth, and that's why I was so paranoid all
I was
fucking
just
today.
avoiding the question. You kept asking it and you kept bringing it up, and I was like, what if I just keep avoiding it?
I thought you were gonna ask while three of us were on a call this afternoon, and
I
I
did
was
too.
gonna
I'm
tell you
glad you
the
didn't
No,
answer
I
say
was
straight in
anything.
front of Mac.
no,
You were complaining about the whole thing with Sam last season. I'm sitting there saying, "Is that a question? Like, I'll answer it if you ask me a question." And Mac's
no, I
eyes are
did.
just wide.
I
No,
was like,
I was
I was
watching that
looking at
going,
Cameron.
ask
I was
the
like, Cameron,
question!
don't
Ask
say
the
a thing.
question!
no. Here's the gag. I'm one to read facial expressions and read body language. I knew Mac was lying through his fucking teeth, so it was like
I mean, you
my
also knew
ultimate.
via knowing what happened in prior seasons.
Yes, it's like knowing like I asked him, I said, I have no idea about who played. All I said is, I know Steven played, who I played Bodo with for 5 seconds. And I know Brady. So it was just like, those are the people I knew. I was like, that's all I know. 5 minutes before the cast reveal, Cam said this. I said, nah, I'm just gonna watch the episode. What I did was I watched what really happened. That's where a lot of my insight for how the game progressed. I was like, okay, so if this happened here, this happened here, this happened here, I was like, okay, this makes sense. So as soon as I got to the fight, that's why I kept pressuring you. And the moment your face cracked, I was like, okay, yep, clots. And the moment if Rachel would have gave you immunity, oh, you were getting sold up the fucking river. You were getting sold up that river,
Wow.
sarcophagus and all, because I would taken you out because like when I texted you, I said you had me worried because you said to Zach, I will explain this and it's a strategic move. I started shaking so bad. I was like, oh shit, what I was going to do is about to happen to
You knew
me.
what I was gonna do, and I was trying
When
to
you say
explain it to
strategically,
Zach.
this is the best move for you. With my resume, I legit thought I was God.
I didn't need to explain it to you, though. I needed to explain it to
No.
Zach.
T. However, if Rachel would have given me immunity,
I know.
you would have been sold up the river. You would have been sold up the river because
But
you were acting hella fishy last night. Love you
but
down.
Cake, you could have done that anyways. You could have exchanged with Zach,
Yeah, you could have
and
still
Mac would
taken
have
me out.
went.
But that didn't
Does Zach
ensure
ha-
her to get a pass because if she would have done that, I already made up my mind that I would have given the passes to Zach and Rachel.
Oh, I knew it. Here's the thing. I'm easy to clock shit. One thing about me, I don't think I ever had a bad read on the game and like someone. So I was like, if I do this, I run the risk. Will the risk pay off? Probably not. But like it would be funny, as someone once told me.
Yeah, it would
It'd
have
be
been
funny.
hilarious
It
for
would have
us
been
to be
so funny.
fourth and third.
Listen, I would have been following in my drag mother's footsteps.
I mean, well, who would you like? What if Keith did it? What if she did it at Final Four? Who would you give your keys to?
Zach and Rachel.
Oh, I said in my prod chat,
Yep.
if Mac, I said this in my prod chat last night. I said, I have this weird feeling in my stomach, Mac's gonna pull some stupid shit. And if he pulls it, I will be the most bitter bitch in the world.
I was
I
saying
was
the
like,
same thing. I was like, if Cake pulls something here, I swear to God.
Well, so it sounds like Cake was considering the opportunity of pulling something on you if the right circumstances aligned. Mac, were you ever considering turning on Cake?
Nope.
lie again, bitch. Lie
Never,
again.
never, not
Even
once.
though potentially going against Zach or Rachel, we don't know what the results would have been, but seemingly you would have had an easier win.
Yes, I knew that.
Okay.
And I was fully okay coming in second to Cake. With
Okay.
the relationship
Same.
and the game that we played, we both had come to the mutual agreement of we're okay coming in second
Losing.
to whoever it is, as long as it's us two in the finale.
I
So-
agreed. I legit, I
I
said,
assumed you would vote for each other if, like, by some weird circumstance, you were eliminated without the other ones, like, being
oh,
involved.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Like, let's say
Absolutely.
let's say they were the ones, you and their vote was shredded or something.
I will say, some people here have seen me in an FTC and how I've taken my L's when like I thought I deserved it. But like I sat there like even before like I got to the key ceremony, I said to Mac, I said, the way you have not only treated me, the way you talked to me, and the way you kept me in the loop, I'm so fine losing to you. I didn't care if I was a 0 vote finalist. We kept saying, no matter what, we're happy losing to you just because of like, I guess the bond of the relationship we have. And, stay tuned because there might be a meetup. Watch out, y'all.
I would
Uh,
yeah, I would say I was actually like seriously debating everything through the whole like finale.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I truly don't doubt it. I feel like, as I said with Mac, like people were up in the air. The people who I thought I was going to get votes from didn't vote for me. The
I
people who I
was
thought
fully
was,
convinced that Rachel and Angelica were voting Cake before coming into this.
oh,
And so I thought it was going to be Rachel, Angelica, and at least those two and Zach for Cake. And then the fourth could have been a toss-up. I had no idea. So
the moment I knew I lost was when they started talking in the main chat on the Zoom, saying how like I just got ate up. I was like, oh yeah, I'm losing this. That's why I said, congrats, Mac, you did it. You ate, whatever. Because
I'm
like,
surprised probably people do that, honestly.
yeah, we're still new to this
It's fine. I'm not mad.
to
I
the
was just like
orgers and
I was like
I just knew what the outcome was gonna be, and I was just like, okay, work.
I
GG,
was
Mac.
we made a note to change that for the future.
I did. Thanks for letting me on, jury. Who picked me technically?
I picked you.
Thank you.
Steve, I
guess-
picked you.
Steve,
I guess
Cake
I guess
and
I guess
Rachel.
Austin's pick was it like individually decided or was it like consensus group basically?
I wanted you and
Individual.
Seb on the jury.
Yeah, we
and
all came to the united decision that we wanted
yeah.
you, Seb, and Halika, and then for me it was like I feel like Steve might have some resentment towards like we looked at it like we all just played in Steve's face. Do we want that on the jury? Or do we want someone like to have like someone who didn't have another chance to be able to be here and present? So it was just like honestly, like I love the jury. I don't care I lost. I still love y'all down.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
like I'm taking my L with
So
gratitude.
basically you picked the people who were active from the earlier rounds, I guess.
we try to pick who would have a fair shot. We didn't want like auto lock votes for a lot of people. We wanted it to be, as I said, for multiple people, as I said to Steve, as I said to Zach, as I said to Mac, we wanted a fair fight with the jury
Mhm.
with no essentially auto locks. We all thought like everyone who picked might have had an auto lock for that person.
And you didn't want like the irrelevant. Like I think the most irrelevance left.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cake, you were even talking about throwing Alex or Tristan on the jury as well. But both you and Rachel voted for Steve. Um, was that part of the plan, or were you supposed to vote for someone else? Rachel seems
Rachel said that she was
surprised.
doing Angelica, and I was like, oh, okay, work.
Oh, she
That's
didn't vote on Helica?
No. And Rachel
Oh,
seems surprised by the jury result.
You didn't like it because I believe if I ended up with 2 votes, you probably wanted me to do Rich, but because of the mishap, I stuck with Angelica on jury.
Yeah, but she
Yeah.
could have just voted for Rich herself. If,
Yeah, Brandon, do you want to speak to the mishap that happened?
Yes. Cake, you had changed your vote from Angelica to Steve. And by that point, I was already locked in and didn't catch it. And so I revealed that Angelica was on the jury when she was not, in fact, yet on the jury. Steve, would you have made a different choice, though?
I because I almost was leaning towards Tristan because I felt like he had a good game and he wanted more in the game, but to give him a little more input, I was leaning towards that.
Hmm.
But I just pretty much thought it in my mind where if I got chose to be on jury, I'd be like, sweet. And then all of a sudden I got like, no, no, sorry, you're not on jury. So I just wanted to keep that kind of like mutual so she wasn't like disappointed or anything like that. So
Then my
Also, it
apologies to
didn't change the
Tristan.
result of the winner, so
Yeah, my
no
apologies to
harm, no
Tristan
foul.
then. And we'll try to make that work better in the future.
Don't worry, I have a prod made many mistakes.
Um,
I think I accidentally revealed someone's power technically in like a casual chat. It was very public info, but it was like I confirmed it. I confirmed the work. Basically, it's like everyone had like a superpower mutation thing, and everyone was public info by the end of the game. And I confirmed it. Like it didn't matter.
yeah.
Yeah.
Last couple questions here before we reveal a few more secrets and close up for the night. Rich, you had two keys and you leveraged one for a vote. You told Mac that you had a house rule based off of last season that you do not give out the key or final two pass until you get the vote first. But yet you still gave Rachel the key before you got the vote. What's the deal?
I didn't believe that. He wasn't gonna give it to me.
Okay, so I'm gonna say because this also leads up to my one comment because I thought so I had 2 keys and I know I was being targeted, right? And I know that if me trying to work with Steve, Angelica, and Rachel know that if I get eliminated, then if Mac or whoever in that side didn't get the keys will get my keys, so it wouldn't make sense. Um, so part of the plan was Rachel at that point was my number one, so I trusted her over Angelica. So I knew I wanted to keep her safe, and I knew she had a disadvantage. Also, it was kind of slightly misleading in terms of I said that we were all throwing votes towards Steve, but in case that got leaked, which I thought it might, and I would be targeted, it was my safety net. It was also trying to convince Rachel, hey, I'm giving you this, and I purposely did this last minute too. I was trying to invoke an emotion like, hey, I trust you. I need your vote back just in case things work out. And I gave her that reason, which then leads me to my one comment was I really thought I deserved the advantage that round. I thought no one saw that coming. I thought I played that. I was able to save. I made it where it's 3 versus 3. I was able to save Rachel and myself. They lost Seb, And I think had I had that advantage, things could have played slightly different. I was just like, oh my God, I that was the one round I thought I worked to a T. But the idea there was just I needed an extra vote for safety in case that got leaked. And I knew that if I gave my vote to Rachel, particularly last minute, hopefully that emotion could like just further entrust that she votes for me back. And worst case scenario, if I get eliminated, at least Rachel still has a shot.
That round
They-
was a very. Oh, go ahead, Cam.
I was gonna say they were very surprised that you had access that round that Seb went. And the interesting thing was, which is maybe a question then towards Mac and Zach and Cake, is you gave access to Angelica, and I believe it's actually Cake that voted for Angelica. But by giving
And
access to somebody outside of your circle, you guaranteed that someone from your circle went home. If you had given access to Seb or Mac, you might not have guaranteed that you got a key, but at least Seb and Mac would have both survived. I don't know if you guys realize that by voting for Angelica to keep her from getting an envelope, you made one of yourselves guaranteed to go home.
I realized that. But
Okay.
I had no other choice because I didn't have a key. So I thought
Yeah.
to myself, this gets me a key and Seb might have to go home, and that's just going to be that. Because
Me and
otherwise,
Mac talked about
I
it.
go home. Yeah.
Mac and I talked about it, and we were like, I'm doing the vote to prevent Angelica from getting a key, so that way Mac would have the opportunity. And we said, if worse comes to worse, Seb goes. Seb has already said that they want to see us go forward. We go forward. That was my mentality. Even though it wasn't emotional, it was just like, well, now what?
I do think that was a very interesting inflection point in the game because had you guys kept your votes in your group, then Rachel would have been the one that had been eliminated at the final 8, which meant Mac and Seb would have gotten the envelope, and there was then a key. One of Mac or Seb would have gotten the envelope, and there was another key, meaning that likely Mac or Seb go at 7 there. But Angelica likely moves forward in the Rachel spot and makes it down towards the end. So that's one spot where Rachel got the up on Angelica all through Cake keeping Angelica safe that round, and letting Seb go at 8 instead of at the key ceremony.
So the envelope that round, if it was going to me and Seb, who would that have gone to?
Well, I'm assuming if the plan is to get you the envelope, Mac, that Cake votes for Seb, Rachel goes, in which case she would have to give the envelope
To you.
to Angelica or to you. She probably gives it to Angelica, but then she has the extra key, and I feel pretty confident you probably would have gotten it over Seb. It would have been whoever Rachel gave that extra key to would have been choosing to save you or Seb there. Does that sound right, Cam?
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, because Rich would have given the key already to Rachel. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Rachel would have had an extra key, and then it would
Well,
have been between.
Rachel gave out an envelope to Angelica likely on her way out,
Yeah.
and then her key that she got from Rich, she gives to either Rich or Angelica or Steve, and they pick between you or Seb who goes and who stays there.
Okay.
So you definitely made the right move. It guaranteed your safety.
It did, yeah. And that was what I was worried about too. I remember it being more clear at the time, but I just was like, I can't risk it at this point.
Right.
There's no point.
Also, I want to say that there was a moment where I really was considering giving if Mac would have followed through. There was a strong chance I was considering giving my other key to Mac and Rachel, and hopefully that the whoever gets eliminated or if I'd done that, I would have to put myself at risk to put. So that was a scenario. So I wasn't just saying Mac. There was a chance where if I knew that Mac could have followed through, but by the time Steve was telling me that Mac was talking to him, I knew that, and I knew Mac had that reputation of doing that. So I was like, okay, he's not going to follow through. But there was a chance where I possibly could have given Mac the key, and then put myself at risk, just in order to have 4 of us, meaning Angelica, in, and have it be like 4 against 3. But that was a possibility.
Okay. Well, before we wrap up here, unless there are any other questions that people have,
When's awards?
We'll
those will be
do that
coming.
next week sometime probably. Maybe this weekend, but we're wrapping them up.
Okay. So, one last thing here is that I like to keep track of who has whose access card throughout the game and to see who ends up winning the game with what access cards. Um, this is very
I wonder
interesting.
who's gonna get this.
So at the final four, Mac, if you had won the challenge, you likely would have won the game with your own access card. If you had kept your access card and won the challenge and kept it,
No way.
you had your own access card at the final four. However, with having to exchange, um, then you end up, let's see, Cake would have gave you her access. And at the final four, she had Angelica's access card. So you win the game with Angelica's original access card. Cake had Wesley's access card at the end, and Rachel ends the game with Jester's access card.
I love
So
how far my access card went.
yeah, yeah, it's kind of wild.
I
That
mean, like, it would be funny if one of these games, the first boot access card to empty is like the winning one. Usually the first boot access card is burned, but
yeah, I think it's been close, if not,
Last
it
season,
hasn't.
Turner's card got really far,
Yeah,
if not
yeah.
like
the end.
I know this season I think it was like Yunnan, like everyone like shared with each other a circle, and we just and their card got burned. Yeah.
Yeah, Turner's went out at the final four last season. So, all right. Well, if there aren't any other questions, Cam or anyone else have any other questions?
Nope.
All right. Then I just want to thank you again, players. You made an awesome season. Thank you to the Forge Masters for helping us out, even though I know you all were chomping at the bit to want to play again, that you kind of took a seat on our side of things and just watched everything play out and get to have a fun chat together. Thank you also. So thank you, Cass, for a great season of Access. Thank you to Cam and Pete for all your help in running this game. I couldn't do this without you. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Again, feel free to support the game by purchasing merch. We have a merch store. You can find the link to this on our website, accessthegame.weebly.com, or it should be in the description below on YouTube. And if you would like to play Access, if this seems fun, then let us know either in the comments or email us at accessthegame.info@gmail.com. I would love to deny your access. And on that note, I am happy to announce that we are looking to planning out our next season already, likely in January. So stay tuned for more details on that. And with that, I bid you all a good night and hopefully see you soon.